If you're new to towing an RV, there are 3 mistakes that show up fast: guessing your weights, rushing the hitch setup, and treating tires and brakes like an afterthought. None of these are complicated fixes, but they can seriously change how stable your rig feels and how confident you are on the road. Let's go straight into the 3 mistakes and what to adjust today so your setup is safer, smoother, and way less stressful to tow. Number 1. Guessing your weights. New RV owners often look at one big number like tow rating and stop there. The problem is that towing limits are a stack of different limits, and you can be within one limit while quietly breaking another. The one that bites beginners the most is payload. Payload is how much weight your tow vehicle can carry on its own tires. It includes everyone in the seats, everything you toss in the cab and bed, and the trailer's tongue weight pressing down on the hitch. So even if the truck can technically pull the trailer, it might not be able to carry the tongue weight plus passengers and gear. The quickest reality check is the yellow payload sticker on the driver's door jamb. That number is your budget, and tongue weight spends that budget fast. It also helps to keep a buffer instead of towing right at the edge, because hills, heat, high altitude, and strong winds all make the drivetrain and brakes work harder. Here's the simple translation of the common terms. GVWR is the most your tow vehicle is allowed to weigh when it's loaded for the road. GAWR is the most weight each axle is allowed to carry. GCWR is the most the whole combination can weigh, tow vehicle plus trailer. The published tow rating is usually based on a specific configuration and a lightly loaded truck. That's why 2 people can own the same model and have totally different real-world limits depending on cab size, bed length, engine, options, and what they actually pack. Then there's the trailer side of the equation.
A lot of beginners use the trailer's dry weight because it's printed on websites and sometimes on the trailer. Dry weight is basically the trailer before real life happens. No full propane, no batteries, no water, no food, no clothes, no camp chairs, no tools, no leveling blocks, no extra add-ons from the dealer. Once you load it like you actually travel, the trailer is heavier and the tongue weight changes too. Water is about 8.3 pounds per gallon, so even a small amount adds up fast. Add a couple batteries, a propane pair, and a few bins of gear, and you can be hundreds of pounds above what you thought you were towing. Tongue weight is where guessing gets you in trouble. For most bumper pull travel trailers, a stable tongue weight is usually around 10 to 15% of the trailer's actual loaded weight. Too light and the trailer can feel nervous, especially in crosswinds or when a big truck passes. Too heavy, and you overload the tow vehicle's rear axle, make the rear squat, and take grip away from the front tires. That's when steering can feel vague, headlights point up, and braking can feel less confident. Fifth wheels and goosenecks are different because pin weight is usually higher as a percentage, and it sits over the rear axle area in the bed. But the same idea applies. You need real numbers, not vibes. Fix this today starts with measuring. The quickest way is a public scale, like a CAT scale. Weigh the tow vehicle by itself in travel mode, with the same people and gear you normally drive with. Then weigh the full combo. If the scale setup allows, get separate axle weights so you can see what's on the front axle, the rear axle, and the trailer axles. That one step answers a lot of questions. Did the front axle get too light? Is the rear axle overloaded? Are the trailer axles carrying what you expected? And how close are you to the limits on the stickers and in the manual? If you can't get to a full-size scale, you can still get useful info. Many RV owners use a dedicated tongue weight scale or a setup at home that measures tongue weight safely.
and then they confirm with a scale when they have the chance. The goal isn't perfection down to the last pound. The goal is to stop guessing and get close enough that you can see your margins. Once you have weights, compare them to the actual ratings on your equipment, not just one number. The receiver hitch on the truck has its own rating. The hitch ball mount has its own rating. The hitch ball has its own rating. Some receivers have one rating for dead weight and a higher rating when used with a weight distribution hitch, and the difference matters. Also, your tires have load ratings, and your wheels do too. It's common to see a setup where the engine feels strong and the truck can tow it, but the payload, rear axle rating, receiver rating, or tires are the real limit. If you're over on payload, axle weight, or tongue weight, the fixes are usually about where the weight sits. Keep heavy items low and close to the trailer axles, not stacked high and not all the way at the very front or very back. Avoid loading heavy gear behind the trailer axles because it can reduce tongue weight and make sway more likely. If your trailer has a front storage compartment, don't treat it like an unlimited closet. It can push tongue weight up quickly. In the tow vehicle, remember that anything you add to the bed counts against payload too. So a heavy toolbox, a generator, or a big cooler in the bed can be the difference between fine and over. Sometimes the easiest adjustment is water. If your trips allow it, travel with less fresh water and fill closer to your destination. If you boondock and need water, you can still plan for it, but it should be a deliberate choice because you know how that weight affects your numbers. When your weights are right, the rig feels calmer.
Steering feels normal again, braking feels more even, and the trailer tracks behind you instead of trying to lead the conversation. And once your numbers are solid, the next thing to fix is the connection itself. Because a lot of beginners hook up in a way that's technically attached, but not truly set up. Number 2. Hitch setup shortcuts. A proper tow setup isn't complicated, but it is precise. Beginners often hook up once, see that the coupler is on the ball, and then never revisit the setup, even after loading changes, tire changes, or a new tow vehicle. The result is a trailer that rides nose high or nose low, a truck that squats, and handling that feels off, even though nothing is broken. Start with the absolute basics. The hitch ball must match the coupler size exactly. A 2-inch ball is not close enough for a 2 5/16 coupler. Make sure the ball mount, and the receiver are all rated above your trailer's real loaded weight and tongue weight. Then make sure the coupler latch fully closes and is secured with a pin or a lock so it can't pop open. A quick sanity check many experienced towers use is lifting the tongue jack slightly after latching, just enough to see that the truck and trailer are truly connected and the coupler is seated. Safety chains are not decoration. Cross them under the coupler in an X so they can catch the tongue if the coupler ever comes off. Leave enough slack for turning, but not so much that chains drag. The breakaway cable needs its own attachment point on the tow vehicle, separate from the chains. The whole point of that system is that if the trailer separates, the cable pulls the pin and applies the trailer brakes. If it's clipped to a chain, the geometry can be wrong and it may not pull when it has to. Now look at the trailer's attitude. In most cases, you want the trailer close to level when it's loaded and ready to travel.
A nose-high trailer can shift weight in ways that reduce stability and change braking, and a nose-low trailer can overload the front trailer axle and affect clearance. The fix is usually choosing the right drop or rise on the ball mount, and then rechecking after you load the trailer the way you actually camp. This is where weight distribution hitches come in for many travel trailers. A weight distribution hitch uses spring bars to move some of the tongue load forward onto the tow vehicle's front axle and back onto the trailer axles. In normal language, it helps the truck sit more level and keeps the front tires doing their job. The big beginner mistake is buying a weight distribution setup based on the trailer's dry tongue weight, then loading the trailer and ending up outside the hitch's working range. You want a system that matches your real tongue weight and gives you adjustment room. When adjusting a weight distribution hitch, the goal usually isn't to make the truck perfectly flat, like it's not towing anything. The goal is to bring the front axle back closer to its normal weight, so steering and braking feel right, without overloading parts. If you're not sure, it's worth having a reputable RV shop set it up once and show you what right looks like for your exact rig. After that, you can keep it consistent. Sway control is related, but it's not a band-aid for bad loading. Some weight distribution systems include built-in sway control, and some use a separate friction bar. Either way, the core stability comes from proper tongue weight, a level trailer, correct tire pressure, and reasonable speed. Sway control helps reduce little movements from wind or passing traffic, but it can't turn an unbalanced setup into a safe one. Brakes are the other place where beginners leave performance on the table. If your trailer has electric brakes, you need a brake controller, and it needs to be adjusted. A controller that's installed but not tuned often means the trailer is either pushing the tow vehicle when you stop, or it's grabbing too hard and feeling jerky. A simple way to dial it in is to test at low speed in a safe, open area. Use the manual lever on the controller so you can feel the trailer brakes slow the combo without locking. Then do a few gentle stops and adjust gain so the stopping feels smooth and balanced. Anytime your load changes a lot, your ideal setting can change too. Also, confirm the trailer brakes actually work before you roll into traffic. Plug in the 7-way connector, check that the controller sees the trailer, and do a low-speed test. If nothing happens, don't guess. Check the connection, the trailer battery, and the breakaway switch. A broken or partially pulled breakaway pin can also cause brake issues, so it's worth looking at during the walk-around. The last hitch setup mistake is skipping the simple checklist items that keep you from stopping 5 minutes into the drive. Make sure the jack is fully up, stabilizers are up, steps are in, doors are latched, and loose items are secured. Confirm all lights work, running lights, brake lights, turn signals, and hazards. Set your mirrors so you can see down the sides of the trailer and the lane next to you. When the connection is correct and the trailer is riding right, the whole rig feels predictable, which is exactly what you want before you deal with the third mistake that shows up on the road: tires and braking heat. Number 3. Tires and brakes on autopilot. A lot of towing mysteries are just tires and brakes doing exactly what physics says they'll do. Beginners often check tire pressure by eye, assume the tires are fine because the tread looks decent, and then get surprised by handling problems or overheating on a hot day. Tires and brakes are not background details when you're towing. They're the foundation. Start with tire pressure, because pressure is what carries load.
Trailer tires work hard. High loads, long distances, and usually very little rest. When a trailer tire is underinflated, it flexes more. That flex makes heat, and heat breaks down the tire. The right pressure is the cold pressure that matches the load the tire is carrying. Many trailer tires are designed to run near the maximum pressure printed on the sidewall, but you should still confirm what your tires and trailer call for. Check pressure when tires are cold. Use a real gauge, and don't forget the spare. Age matters as much as tread on many trailers. Trailer tires can look fine and still be old. Sunlight, ozone, and time harden rubber.
Check the DOT date code on the sidewall so you know the tire's real age. If you bought the trailer used and you don't know the tire history, treat the tires like a risk item and plan replacement accordingly, especially before long trips. Match the tire and wheel ratings to the job. Passenger car tires are not the right choice for most trailers. Many travel trailers use ST, special trailer tires. Some use light truck tires, and what matters is the load rating and speed rating being appropriate for your real axle weights. Wheels have ratings too, and so do valve stems. Upgrading to a higher load range tire without confirming the wheel and valve stem ratings is a common mismatch that creates new problems. Now add the easy hardware checks that prevent roadside headaches. Lug nuts can loosen, especially on new trailers and after wheel service, so retorquing to the manufacturer's spec is a smart habit. Wheel bearings also need attention because they carry the trailer's weight and they spin for hours at highway speed. You don't have to do a full teardown every trip, but you should be alert for warning signs. At fuel stops, a quick walk-around helps. Look for grease around a hub, listen for unusual sounds, and notice if one wheel feels noticeably hotter than the others.
If something seems off, that's a reason to get it inspected before it becomes a bigger problem.
Brakes are next, and this is where towing technique matters as much as equipment. Beginners often drive like they're not towing, late braking, riding the brakes downhill, and letting speed creep because the engine feels strong. With a trailer, that builds heat in both the tow vehicle brakes and the trailer brakes. Heat reduces braking power, and once brakes get too hot, stopping distances grow even if you're pressing the pedal harder. Use the features your tow vehicle already has. If you have tow/haul mode, use it. It changes shift behavior and can add engine braking so the drivetrain helps control speed. On long downgrades, downshift early and aim for a steady, controlled speed instead of repeatedly tapping the brakes. If you have a diesel with an exhaust brake, that's the same idea. It helps hold speed without cooking the brakes. Trailer brakes are not set and forget either. Electric drum brakes may need periodic adjustment, and the brake controller gain may need changes when your trailer load changes. If the trailer is pushing the tow vehicle during stops, the controller may be too low or the brakes may be out of adjustment. If the trailer brakes feel grabby at low speed, the gain may be too high. Smooth, shared braking is the target. Spacing and speed are the simplest safety tools that beginners underestimate. Give yourself more following distance than you think you need and keep speed reasonable for conditions. Speed multiplies stopping distance, increases tire heat, and makes sway more likely. Even small speed reductions can make the rig feel dramatically more stable and keep tires and brakes cooler. If you want a practical upgrade that supports good habits, a trailer-capable tire pressure monitoring system can give you early warnings for pressure loss or temperature spikes.
It doesn't replace inspections, but early warning gives you options, and options are what keep a small issue from turning into a big one.